Welcome to another lesson of Kami Academy. Now, I'd like everyone to pull out their textbooks, skip to chapter 89, and today we'll be covering game sense. Ah yes, game sense. Have you ever had someone yell that at you when you made a goof in a game? Game sense. Game sense! So what is this douchebag actually referring to? Well, there's not really a set definition to this term, so I'll make one up. Game sense. Overall awareness of a game's mechanics and the ability to use them to your advantage. So in Paladins, what are these mechanics? Well, that's what we're going to dive into today to help make you a better player. Now, while this might be specifically targeted towards Paladins, the overall concept is applicable to any game out there. We'll start off with a big one, the champions. So being aware of what each champion has a capability of doing, what they want to do, and what they don't want happening to them is important. What I mean by this is knowing what each champion's good scenario and bad scenario is. Let's take Skye for example. You're in a pub and you keep getting melted by that damn Skye. You decide on the spot that Skye is OP, her ult is OP, and she can go suck a d. Is she really OP though? I mean, she beat you in a 1v1, so it's obvious that she's OP or hacking. So my suggestion is, play her. Not for just a game, but a solid like 3 games or so on her. Learn what kind of mindset you have to have while playing Skye. You'd quickly learn that she's heavily reliant on cooldowns and picking off stragglers. So now when you go up against the Skye again, you have the knowledge at your disposal. When you hear that stealth, find a teammate and stay somewhat near him. When you see her pop out of her stealth to kill a teammate, go run her down. She'll probably try to throw a smoke bomb to try and escape, but that stealth only lasts a few seconds. With both of those on cooldown, she's a sitting duck. Now that's just one example, but the same concept can be applied to all champions. Once you get to the point where you know all of the champions' good scenarios and bad scenarios, you just make it your goal to put each of your opponents in that bad scenario every time. Now next we have maps. So currently there's only 2 maps, but there's another one on the way. And the maps are quite small, so learning all the paths shouldn't take too long. Once you know where each path leads, then it's time to figure out where your champion does best at. This kind of goes hand in hand with the points made in that earlier section, but champions strive depending on their environment. I mean, would Kinessa want to go to a close quarters combat area with tons of cover for her enemies to hide behind? No! That's why you gotta try different routes and different spots to set up when trying to take over or defend a point. For example, when I play Cassie, I like to keep my range since she has a 0 damage drop off. But I also like to be kinda near a ledge, so if someone tries to come up on me, I just disengage them off the map. Always look for similar opportunities where your champion can strive at, and it'll help you immensely. Up next, we have your team. Now, I'm not talking about like which champion to pick to create a solid team composition. I may cover that in a later video. But I'm simply stating to help your team. Like, help them. A lot of players' mindset when they get into a game is to just start riding valiantly towards the point, pick a route, and charge. This usually ends with you splitting off from the team, getting picked off, and now your team's in a 4v5 situation. Thanks a lot, d***. Instead of having this find an enemy mindset, have more of a help a teammate mindset. If you see a teammate's health dropping, get to them and help them. If you see them firing at a target, go fire at the same target. Enemies tend to die around twice as fast when 2 people shoot at it. I'm no math major though. If you have a solid understanding of all the champions, what they'll try to do, and where they like to go on the map, then it makes it all the easier to assist them. All of these concepts I'm listing in this guide relate to each other in one way or another, so it's important to always be practicing all of them to better yourself as a player. Lastly, we have your UI or HUD. Now specifically I'm referring to like the kill feed, respawn timers, kind of the same thing. Capture point and payload progression, kind of the same thing. So let's say you recently died and you're riding back in. The enemies have 5 up and the rest of your team just got wiped. Would you A, charge into the point to get them off? B, hide like a little bitch till your team respawns? C, try to position yourself while waiting for your team to respawn? Or D, make a sandwich? The answer, which I hope was obvious, is C. I would have also accepted B or D. I want a sandwich. Just not A. And the way you're keeping track of all these things is with respawn timers and kill feed, I guess. Sometimes getting into position isn't possible, so if the enemies are aggressively pushing you into spawn and zone you out, it's probably best to hide. The important thing is just stay alive. If you charge in and try to solo the whole team, followed by a teammate doing the exact same thing, you're just hurting yourselves in the long run. I believe shoutcasters refer to it as the EU conga line. Everyone runs in one by one to just be melted by the opposing team. Now while sometimes, let me stress sometimes suiciding on the point or payload to extend it just for a few seconds is the right answer, if the point isn't anywhere close to being captured or the payload isn't inches away, just wait. Speaking of payload and capture points, remember there's a little bar at the top to show you the progression. So if you're pushing forward to like kill an enemy and you see the payload's not moving, go back and push it. It's important to keep that thing moving as much as possible. As for capture points, this info is even bigger. Not only does it tell you if an enemy or a teammate's on it, but how many. So like let's say you're a victor. You notice your whole team is dead and they're respawning. They're running in and the enemy team has one person down. You see that via the HUD, 3 of those up and ready to fight enemies are on the point, but it's only at like 30, so you've got some time. You spot a Kinessa in the back line all alone, waiting to snipe someone right in the face. You now know where everyone is, even though you only have spotted Kinessa. The HUD literally gave you locations of 80% of their team, 1 dead, 3 on the point. A good move would probably be like get into position to jump on the Kinessa right as your team is making contact with the enemy team on the point. Follow that by slowing down the person respawning by knocking them off their mount. This ensures that your team has a 4v3 situation on the point, and it's a huge advantage. Now the last thing is the kill feed. Now like I said, it's kind of the same as respawn timers. But like sometimes if you get a person low and they run away, they might be picked off. Pay attention to the kill feed as you're going in for that kill in case of a teammate finishes them off before you. It saves you precious seconds to look around, assess your surroundings, and plot your next move. Using the fantastic HUD provided to you by Hi-Rez, you'll know when to push, when to back off, how many are alive, and sometimes even locations of your enemies. This is all incredibly important information. Alright, you know what to do guys. Now that you have the knowledge, it's time to go practice. At first, it'll be hard to remember to keep an eye out on all this information, but it'll get easier with time. Especially if you follow my last guide and aiming has already become second nature. I'm gonna leave you with a little words of wisdom. I understand that winning is better than losing, but when you lose, try to learn from your mistakes. Above all, don't blame your team. It never helps yelling at some teammate because you think he sucks. Maybe give them some tips to get better. When you BM or badmouth them, all it does is piss them off or it makes them feel like shit. Next time you feel the urge to yell at a fellow player, instead, whisper me the insult. Use me as your punching bag. We all want this community to grow and every community member needs to do their part. Make sure to leave a comment on what you want to see in my next video, and as always, thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm not gonna be one of those people who asks you to like and subscribe, so I'm not gonna ask.